I've got some thoughts about Diddy, what he did, and how we react to everything. And what's next? Puff has been a menace for the better part of 3, if not 4 decades. There's a laundry list of crimes, not even allegations, that go back at least to 1991 when he and Heavy D hosted a charity basketball game that was oversold and 9 people lost their lives in the City College stampede. In 1993, Puff was fired from Uptown Records for his attitude and how he ran business there, and this is probably where he should have been stopped. The basketball game was a tragedy, but Puff and Heavy were merely hosts. You could put any 2 celebrity names there, and similar would have happened. Plus, there's a reason we don't associate Heavy D with this incident as being a bad guy, but we do Puff, and that's because of everything that followed. Puff and Suge's whole East-West beef wasn't mainly about Big and Pac. Suge actually thought that Puff had something to do with one of his friends getting killed, a man named Big Jake, while all of them were at a party for Jermaine Dupri in Atlanta. A couple of years later, Pac is gone, and word starts spreading that Puff put the money up for the hit, and 25 plus years later, Keefe D is in jail for talking about it over and over again for the better part of a decade. Next thing you know, Big is gone, and Puff is on the cover of Rolling Stone and releasing albums eulogizing Big while making money hand over fist. From there, we learned about Cassie and their inappropriate relationship, the abuse, blowing up Kid Cudi's car, and even recently, Punch from TDE told the story about how J. Cole and Puff got into a fight, and Puff threatened to break a bottle over a table and cut him with it. That would be at least the second time this happened, since he also beat record executive Steve Stout over the head with a bottle over Nas's Hate Me Now video, and that was back in 1999. And you know it's egregious because the Boondocks did a parody of it.
In 2000, rapper Gangsta Licious reportedly assaulted record executive Johnny Guinness with a tennis racket and a bottle of Hennessy on the set of a music video. Guinness refused to cooperate with authorities, but the next day, Gangsta Licious made an appearance on MTV's TRF.
Hold up. Drop the beat. Gangsta Licious, my mind's too vicious. EMC's all day, delicious. My whole crew up in this, no doubt we gon' win this. Smack up your moms like I smacked Johnny Guinness. 3 o'clock yesterday, I don't care what they say. Suckers really shouldn't play, I hit him with the Hennessy.
1999 is also the same year that he allegedly shot Natanya Rubin in the face in a nightclub with J-Lo in tow and then blamed it on Shine.
There's no doubt in my mind who shot me.
You have said since really right after the shooting that it was P. Diddy who shot you.
And as I said, no, I looked straight forward ahead and I watched the muzzle flash from both of their guns and I felt the impact to my face instantly.
Shine is forgiving Puff, but we already knew that he was shady because it was a huge deal that Puff didn't give Shine the same legal team. Again, so egregious that Nas mentioned it in a song.
The whole city is mine, pretty as dawn. I don't like the way P. Diddy did Shine with different lawyers.
I was defending him, and he turned around and called witnesses to testify against me, and he contributed. He pretty much sent me to prison. So that is the context by which you must always describe that relationship. Yes, I forgave, I moved on, but let us not pretend as if I was in Miami for Thanksgiving and Christmas and that.
I don't even feel like going through all of the assault charges and other legal issues that are so numerous that his Wikipedia page has a section dedicated to it. Puff has gotten away with far too much for far too long, and we're just about to get to some level of justice out of this acts of terror. But first, I need us to stop trivializing what he did. In general, and specifically, No Diddy. That's been pissing me off for months. Let me get this out of the way. No Diddy is just Pause 2024, and I hated Pause. I've hated it since the 90s. I hate No Diddy now, and that's because grown men somehow think being gay is both funny and the worst thing in the world, and neither are true. First off, when you say pause, it's not keeping you on your toes. It's literally just showing that you never stopped being a middle schooler. Pause is one of the most immature things I've ever witnessed because why are you constantly thinking about dick so often as a straight man that saying any remote euphemism causes you discomfort? Feels like if you think someone mentioned something remotely homosexual 3 times in a row without saying pause, you'll spawn into some sort of super gay Beetlejuice and sprout rainbows from your ears. If you're still doing pause at this time, don't talk to me. Same with No Diddy. And what's worse is that No Diddy is more pointed than Pause. Pause at least was for anything general that could be misconstrued as gay, whereas No Diddy is strictly because you hate gay people so much that when you found out he might be into men, you had a visceral reaction. And the thing is, we didn't find this info out because he was outed in some other way. He was allegedly outed because he's been assaulting men and women. So when you're using it to replace Pause, I'm curious what makes that funny, and also, why isn't it being used for other things? Because let's keep it a buck. Puff is on video snatching up Cassie by the head, dragging her across the ground, and throwing a vase at her. Why is it No Diddy being said when you see fight videos of a man abusing a woman? Why is it only for the gay allegations? There's credible evidence that he blew up Kid Cudi's car. Why is it No Diddy about that? Puff has screwed many people in their record deals, threatened people, has gun and other assault charges against a plethora of men and women, but No Diddy is the funny one because gay? Why not just use his name in place of the devil? Because regardless of the pain and suffering of real people as well as violations from Puff and his co-conspirators, none of that means anything. Those things you've excused with many other celebs throughout the years, but being gay is the line for you to draw. Okay. Same with 50 Cent. He doesn't have an altruistic reason for going after Puff as often as he does and benefiting from his downfall. He just thinks it's funny that Puff likes men. 50 himself has been accused of some devious shit before, but none of that matters because allegedly Puff tried to have sex with him. That was enough. And listen, lots of loser men try to have sex with uninterested women on a daily basis, but they don't make it their whole personalities. And yet, on top of that, I can see how stockpiling baby oil can be seen as funny on the surface until you think about it for multiple seconds. It was being used to assault people forcibly, regularly. There were IV drip bags being used for dehydration. People have not been able to consent for years, and when the wider world heard about it, we went into overdrive with jokes. I get making light of your own trauma. That's to help you cope, but this isn't your own personal trauma to make fun of, it's other people's. Real people's trauma who now probably feel less liable to come out about their stories because nobody can take anything seriously enough in a country where Trump has been president. Understand, it's not supposed to be like this. So many people complain that they want to be heard and taken seriously, but when we do it for others, whatever. I remember when Chris Brown assaulted Rihanna and Puff had them stay in his house together to reconcile. That never sat right with me, especially knowing what we know about him now. Puff was with Cassie from about 2007 to 2018, and that incident happened in 2009. Chris beat his partner something awful, and Puff's first instinct was to lock her in a room with her abuser. And of course, an abuser would give another abuser a method to try to imprint on his victim. Puff wrote the book on that. It's interesting seeing how so many people have forgiven Chris Brown to the point of turning on Rihanna to villainize her, but with Puff now, they don't think that anything's connected. I felt the same way when Puff put Tory Lanez on that remix literally about 2 months before he ended up getting locked up for shooting Megan Thee Stallion. I think about how Fabulous was known to have abused his partner, and Puff made sure to add him on the songs right before. Not everyone who's been around Puff is guilty of something, but Puff really likes to surround himself with guilty people. It's not about redemption, it's about like-minded individuals. Puff, Tory, and Chris are all cut from the same cloth, and unfortunately that material is made in abundance. That's why Drake was so eager to play ball with Tory afterward and start a smear campaign against Meg. These men are dangerous and are playing in our faces. But as I've been told, talent trumps morality, so someone making you dance automatically gives them a chance. Unserious people. So where do we go from here? Well, first off, I think a lot of people are thinking about the magnitude of Puff's arrest. Apparently the feds have been watching him and the freak-off party since 2009, but the first and not last time I heard of them was in 1999 by Jadakiss on a Mary J. Blige song called Sexy.
And you know we always keep one or two that don't say much, like to hit a blunt or two, or don't mind driving with raw in the trunk, or freaking off for a week, top floor in the trunk.
There are more of those references. Me Too was honestly great, but if it had started in the 90s, maybe Puff wouldn't have gotten to Cassie, and He had the power, but it wasn't on that level that he grew to. There are real people, real victims, and we need to take those allegations and truthfully all of the evidence in front of us and start asking deeper questions. One of the greatest things I've read was an op-ed by Kyla Janae Lacey with the headline, "Innocent Black Men Are Not Martyrs for Guilty Black Men," where she directly links Puff and the unfortunate situation with Marcellus Williams. As stated on the Boondocks,
What the hell is wrong with you people? Every famous nigga that gets arrested is not Nelson Mandela.
and when I see people like Boosie and Umar Johnson, the idiot's version of a smart person, cape for Puff, I think about how cognitive dissonance kicks y'all asses all the time when it comes to white people. Like, how is it that without evidence, they always seem to believe that there are powerful white people who are doing nefarious things behind the scenes, but the moment a black person is involved, their blackness and, let's be real, their maleness seems to negate evidence and facts. They will say that there's no smoke for Harvey Weinstein from us, but there absolutely is. You just don't care because he's not someone you think about often. But when he got accused and convicted, those same black men championed what a victory it was, and it was. And yet, when a prominent black male is found to have done similar things with direct video evidence, now it's a setup and y'all want to play investigators. Ray Rice was on video assaulting a woman. Rihanna's bruised face has been all over the news, including Tiana Taylor's Twitter page. I ain't forgot about that. And Puff has lawsuit after lawsuit after video coming out, and all of these men are asked to be given some sort of leniency because of this odd reason, and it's not the same when they do it. All I'm hearing is it's fine for black men to assault women, and especially black women, and I'm not having that shit on my watch. So going forward, I'm calling y'all out to y'all faces when y'all are nice to abusers, like I'm being louder than normal, and call them out in the moment, calling y'all out, the enablers, everything. Stop giving passes to powerful men, and the first time someone shows you who they are, believe them, especially these celebrities. And I'm sorry to tell you, but just because white people get away with heinous crimes doesn't mean that we should too. Not when those crimes are harming our own people. Y'all want to discuss how too many people are killed by the police per capita over white people, then let us have that chat. But if you're asking why we as black people can't sexually assault and harm women with impunity and get away with it, then I have some bones to pick and break with you. Peace to you and yours. Peace to hip hop. No peace to Sean John Combs, R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, Chris Brown, or any man who exerts their power over black women, boys, men, girls, children, and anyone else. No love.